Top 10 motorcycle riding routes in the UK. The North Coast 500. The NC 500 is the ultimate road trip on your doorstep. Easy to get to, great scenery, challenging roads, good facilities and lots of opportunities to take in your own detours or side routes. The designation of the NC 500 has also given people an easy route to follow and a sticker for the bike at the end. In the height of summer it can get busy, with the single-lane roads on the west coast struggling to cope. The shoulder season of April, May and September. October might be preferable, with quieter roads, fewer midges and often better weather than in the summer. The road over the pass of the Cattle into Applecross remains one of the great riding roads and can be challenging in adverse conditions, which are common. Food at the Applecross Inn is notoriously good, and the road around the peninsula to Torridon is another highlight. There's a free campsite by the inn Torridon, with youth hostels, an affordable and convenient way of touring the loop without spending a fortune. Fuel is often a concern, but many of the villages along the way have 24-hour automated fuel pumps, and even the smallest of fuel tanks should be able to cope. Just be wary of Sundays where some of the older stations don't open. In terms of time, while it is possible to do the NC 500 in 3 days or less, to enjoy it fully a good 5 days would be best advised, as the pace is slow and the opportunities to stop plentiful. Don't rush it if you don't have to. 63 miles of hills and happiness. It's one of the most uninterrupted coastal runs in the country, passing through clifftop moorland at the top of Exmoor National Park, down the steepest of hills and having some quaint Devonshire villages to stop at en route. From Woolacombe, the route runs along the A31-23 to Barry Down Cross, then hang a left at Blackmoor Gate to pick up the A39 that you'll remain on for the next 50 miles, all the way into Bridgewater. A good deviation is to take the side roads in the direction of Martinhoe, turning left immediately after the Linton and Barnstaple Narrow Gauge Railway Adventure Centre. When riding west to east, heading down to the cliff tops and then down through the narrow lanes, past Lee Abbey with the £8 donation box, and on through the stunning Valley of the Rocks, before coming out at the back of Linton, making for the Highlands. It takes you from the borders of Scotland all the way up to Inverary at the self-titled Gateway to the Highlands without having to traipse through the Glasgow-Edinburgh corridor. The route starts in the village of Crocketford, just to the west of Dumfries, heads up to Ayr on the A712 and A713, before following the A78 around to Greenock to the west of Port Glasgow, where you take a short ferry across to Dunoon. From here you can ride the main A815 alongside Loch Eck, then around the stunning Loch Fyne to Inverary. The ferry to Dunoon is operated by Western Ferries, with a 20-minute crossing and ferries leaving every 15 minutes at peak times. It's the first fully mapped legal trail route through mainland Europe, a total of 2,112 miles in length, with 1,634 of those miles through the UK. The TET is the brainchild of UK trail rider John Ross, who saw the success of the Trans-America Trail, a dirt road route across almost the full width of America, and set about working with a team of linesmen throughout Europe to map out a completely free and downloadable route from the foot of Spain all the way to the top of Norway. The route through the UK isn't entirely non-tarmac, as some of it relies on linking sections between the legal trails, but the real draw is in the ease of being able to follow the route, and the community that's grown up around it, with riders across Europe sharing tips and advice. East Coast Discovery route starting in Skegness as a suggestion, where cheap accommodation makes for an early start the next morning. The route traces up the east coast, through Mablethorpe and out into the Lincolnshire Wolds to the Humber Bridge. Over the Humber Bridge, and if you have the time head east all the way out to Withernsea and follow the coast from there. That road is particularly good, quiet, twisty, well sighted, with Flamborough Head worth stopping at once you get to the top, onto Scarborough and the A171 all the way up to Whitby. Plodding through the Peak District, this route shuns the obvious ones such as the Cat and Fiddle and Snake Pass, as they are often crowded and have a high police presence. From the A6 head north to Owsley, where you take a right up towards Chatsworth House, for a nice scenic run through the grounds. From Basler you could take the A623 straight up to Chapel in Lefirth, but that would be missing out the good riding up towards Castleton and the Edda Loop. The highlight of this being the climb up through Wets Pass, a bit like Cheddar Gorge but without all the tourist at. Castleton has some great local pubs to eat at and sleep at, as well as a cheap campsite up on the hill, as well as a well-priced get to a Yorkshireman's wedding through stunning Yorkshire. This isn't fast riding, but can be challenging in parts and is a million miles from the hustle and bustle of the Yorkshire towns and cities. From Skipton head quickly up Settle, where you'll find some good eateries such as Ye Olde Naked Man. From there take the winding B6479 up to the Ribblehead Viaduct on the Settle to Carlisle Line, a ride down to beneath the viaduct via the service road if time allows, otherwise head northeast to Hawes, with the Wensleydale Creamery a worthwhile stop as you pass through stunning Yorkshire. The A466 north from Chepstow to Monmouth is idyllic as it winds its way along the River Wye, passing the worthwhile rest stop of the Tintern Abbey ruins, with good food served in the pub beside it. West here on the A40 takes you on to the Brecon Beacons, with it down to you as to how much time you have to explore the area. Brecon itself is a good place to base yourself, and the most fun to be had is on the narrow lanes that cross the beacons, such as the sealed section of the Sarn Helen, between Sennybridge and Penderyn, the northeast 250. The people behind the NE 250 reckon it's the ultimate road trip to the heart of Scotland, consisting of 250 miles. Scotland's newest tourist route takes you through Speyside, the Cairngorms, Royalside, Aberdeen, the East Coast and the Moray Coast. Through each of these sectors you can explore everything for which Scotland is famous, whether that be whiskey, golf, mountains, nature or history and heritage, to name a few. There are three main starting points of the big lakes and high passes. The Lake District has a lot to offer, even in the space of a day. Start from Windermere, take the boat across to the west shore and start exploring. There's the famous Rhinos Pass as well as the steepest pass of them all, Hardknott. If you have the time you could even venture further to the north to ride the Honister Pass.